It's not really. It is something that we always joke about. Is like no other industry in the world has a season for budgeting, and yet hospitality does. It's an arduous process that usually starts in August, runs its way in its course until about October. And that's usually because there's just so many people that want to be involved in the happy and joyous process of discovering how much money we should spend, can spend, and why we can't end up spending it. It usually works that way. I remember in my days of running hotels where we usually had three. Mr. Cole, good morning, sir. Oh, no audio. But that's okay.
Mr. Gray.
There you are, sir.
It was so nice to get that heartfelt call from you this morning.
I was worried.
concerned for my well-being. Not really for my well-being, but just where's the damn news list?
I actually,
you could have phrased it differently.
Sincerely, I was sitting here thinking, well, he might just toss it at the very end or something like this. And I looked at it and I'm like, no, it's not coming. So is Robert okay? Because for ladies and gentlemen, Robert Cole is our curator of a very excellent list of content that we sometimes get to at our best.
Not necessarily an excellent list, just a list of 14 items.
But it's a good list.
It is a list, yes.
I put together the possibilities that he was in a car wreck, that he was in some sort of tragedy or something, or that he was just very mad that he's no longer on the marketing board for HSMAI and said, hey, I ain't making no more list for you.
Well, and I've been told that my term actually extends through the end of the year. So I believe I'm still on the board, which I never knew. I thought it was just at that break.
Until you get the gold watch in the mail, I think that you're still there.
I don't know, but I guess we'll have to see. Anyway, you should certainly open that email because I had a very clever intro, I thought.
Oh, looking at the pictures. Yes. There's the monkey. That's me.
Well, because it's a rough
that's Stuart. Okay.
It's a rough week, right? 9/11 anniversary and Brexit's happening, and
it's Friday the 13th,
budget
full
season,
moon,
and
full
it's
moon,
Friday the 13th. Yeah, all of this stuff. So I thought I would provide pictures to the people who get the news email of the Comedy Wildlife Photography Awards. So
I will make sure that they get added into the show notes.
Now, did you notice the pictures? They are a little bit small, but I didn't.
That's okay. We'll put them in the show notes for everyone that does come to the website and looks for our link that plays back. If you would like to see,
you need to look at Ed's. You need to look at Ed's picture in particular, though. It has some nuance to it.
Alternative perspective. Looking at a rhino butt. Okay.
Oh no! What's the rhino butt doing, and what's behind the rhino?
Oh yes.
Oh,
Well.
the poor little bird.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, and then Val, you know what, Val, we haven't had Val on the show for a while. I hope she is either listening today and joins us, or makes it a point that sometime in the near future, I'd love to see and hear
She
always
really
Val's
does.
perspective on things.
She sent me an email yesterday. She's doing quite well, I believe. So
Excellent. That's always
she's
good
just
to
so
hear.
vain. She doesn't want to be on the show. You know, she doesn't want to be seen with us. I think.
Yeah, I'm
really
thinking more it's by association that she seems to be maybe limited in her belief that she wants to be on the show for this. But all said and good, all good.
Yes, exactly.
So with that in mind, and having the fact that the list is well curated by you, but only known by you, as I look through this, I did want to bring out a couple of things. I was bringing out the fact that we are in budget season.
Oh, I've got a bigger announcement, which wasn't on. If I had known I was going to send it late, because the list did get caught in my outbox for some unknown reason, I would have changed two news. The head story today, this morning, Amoma filed for bankruptcy.
Really?
So, yeah, Amoma has gone bankrupt. So I can post the link.
Yeah, put the link up for that one.
Yeah, I saw it on the Focusrite email bucket, and so it was. I immediately responded back that I believe hoteliers will propose this as an international day of celebration for the death of the group, who is rather known for being a little bit aggressive with not abiding by rate parity, which of course in Europe is not a thing. So you can't enforce rate parity over there, and Amoma took full benefit globally, sort of thing.
Oh, yes,
so,
they did. Yes, they did.
Yeah. So yeah,
Interesting event. I was actually
gone.
in my attempt to make sure that we had relevant, great things to discuss today.
Yeah.
I was rather fascinated with a contingency of Brexit that I was not aware of. Speaking of Europe, while we're throwing this all in together, and that was the data possibilities of problems where personal data transfer between UK, EU, UK is totally up in the air. And the article that I'm referring to is from Skift, and that is attention travel companies. Brexit contingency reveals potential for data disruption.
Oh, yes.
And it is fascinating to consider because, you know, we're not in the mindset to have to worry about these things. So obviously, you know,
if you're a hotel in the UK, you better damn worry about Brexit.
Yeah, but if you are in the UK,
a variety of dimensions.
This turns into this could be huge when you consider this from a marketing perspective, especially. It's not that somebody can't stay at a hotel in London or England or Scotland and whatever, Northern Ireland, and then not go to the EU. It's the ability for either to discuss anything with either population with any data usage in the sense of as simple as emails.
Yeah.
Because
what are the rules? Oh, there are no rules.
There are no rules. You know? Yeah. Well,
does that mean anything goes or nothing goes? I don't know.
Is GDPR enforced in England or not in England? Where's our resident Australian? Where's our resident Australian when we need him? Where is Stuart Butler? Or is he from New Zealand? I forget where. God,
I believe he's from. Well, we were going through the Bs for all of the different, former British colonies to source his origin. So I believe he lived in all of them. He was kind of a nomad. Yeah, it was a nomadic.
Rather muddled accent is what it does.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, there's a twang to it, and we just don't know where it's from.
Stuart's parents were actually gypsies who just traversed the British colonies, we believe. So.
Gypsies, tramps, and thieves. Yeah, son of Cher.
So wait, so are you saying Stuart's father was a thief, his mom was a tramp? Is that what you're implying?
I'm just thinking the song might have relevance. I don't know.
But I never thought of it that way, but you may be onto something.
Maybe onto something.
This is what we do to punish hosts who failed to show up and be able to defend themselves. So.
Yeah, the only one I will not punish today is Mr. Tim Peter. He's out for due cause.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes.
Yeah, I will not punish Mr. Tim Peter today, and express all of our thoughts for him and his families as they go through things.
Yes.
So,
yes, they had
yeah. So with this, and just as I say, going since we're talking topic of the European thing with this data thing, this just goes to show you how the world has now worked, because data is king. Data is literally the relevancy of all these things. And if I'm not allowed to know how it is that I'm supposed to communicate with people, or legally allowed to, because as most hoteliers knows, there are people running around, lawyers running around, slapping lawsuits on them because their website's not ADA compliant.
Sure.
Why? Because there's no guidelines. So they can have those things slapped against them, and they have no recourse other than to show every effort, knowing that they're trying, and hoping that if they did do it to due process and go through the legal system, the judge would see it as such. Or the blood money for them, the lawyer, to go away. So data is important, legalities are important, and the fact that England, or the United Kingdom, does not have a complete...
We'll see how united it is for long, but yeah.
Right. The idea that they have no clear path between it and how it handles data compared to that of what the EU has historically handled data as, makes it very questionable as to how and what marketers for both, and even for us to communicate to either.
Well, and even for the courts in the UK, if something was to come up, what basis of law do you wind up really? I don't know. The courts would really have to decide if you're out. Does the body of law previous to, Brexit, right, or be previous to joining the European Union, is that what's enforced? What about all the stuff that they adopted that was part of the EU and kind of governed by, general EU, law? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows, right? And so then even how do you even try the case? And then you're going to go through a long period. So this is probably a great time for attorneys to rack up massive fees, right? And just keep things in complete churn with who knows what the outcomes are. I just have no idea.
I took a more diabolical look at this, in the sense that with some countries, there's always been this harborage of freelance, whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it, because there's no recourse to you legally in the country that you're doing it from.
Right.
We see this from domain hijackers to spammers to, I have a Nigerian prince that wants to go over and send you money. The countries that they originate this all from don't have recourse and a methodology or guidelines as to the legalities of what people are doing. England or United Kingdom could fall into that all of a sudden, and narsay people, bad people, could exploit the fact that they don't have to worry about being chased down for things, because they're in a country that has no guidelines for it to be chased down. So they can do whatever the hell they want.
It's so free.
You see it coming from there, you might say, oh, this is fine because they have laws. No, they don't have any laws. That's the problem.
Pure unbridled capitalism will prevail.
Yeah. I'm all for capitalism. I truly am, but I'm not for unbridled capitalism, because it turns into exploitation. But
you socialist.
Because
aren't there just two? You're either one or the other.
That's right. There's one or the other. There's no middle ground at all anymore. It is either you're this side or that side. There is no in the between of it. But yes, it is disconcerting for that in that sense. But Walmart being bankrupt is a wonderful thing. I would love to see others beginning with A, ending with A, also go that way. Because of massive rate parity issues. Nothing kills marketing for direct channel better than poor rates, just hands down. And it
Well,
is,
and I got into a conversation with Max Starkov on rate parity thing, and we both agree, right? You're kind of in violent agreement of the point, but it's really a case where, yeah, I mean, you wind up with a situation where the hoteliers fought to get rid of rate parity, which is one of the stupidest strategies ever employed, and now they bear the brunt for it, because rate parity is technically resale price maintenance, and resale price maintenance protects the people who are the manufacturers, or in this case the ultimate provider of the service, because that's saying, hey, it's not just the best rate guarantee, that's the manufacturer's suggested retail price, and you're supposed to abide by that, right? And the US Supreme Court said that's okay. Most of the rest of the world goes, no, that's actually technically illegal. By definition, if you have any form of price constraint, vertically or horizontally, kind of the sign of the cross type thing, I believe is how they really
yeah.
they really. I felt like I was blessing you there, Lauren. But yeah, with that, vertical or horizontal price constraints are illegal, and what you have to do there is prove that you are not hurting any consumers, and that burden of proof is very, very, very difficult, right? I mean, that's just where in the US it's the opposite. It's vertical ones, or resale price maintenance, that's okay as long as you don't hurt consumers, sort of thing. So it's assumed to be legal, and then someone who's coming in has to go prove that they're being hurt, and it hasn't happened in the US, at least in terms of, they've had some things where there have been anti-competitive behaviors with setting prices artificially. It was Amazon doing some things with books, and yes, those sorts of things are illegal, but certainly not in terms of a hotel setting its price and trying to make sure that that price was consistent throughout its distribution channels, just so it could offer the same price, right? I mean, that, which is, all the courts have gone, that makes sense. That's the price. Otherwise, it would be confusing and actually damaging to consumers, because how would they know to find the right price? They should be able to look out there and find it. That would be a good thing for consumers, right? So,
Very true.
yeah.
Hey, I know that we have topics that you brought into this, and I was just looking at your top line topic.
Oh, I have a second topic. Can I throw in another topic I wasn't going to throw in?
Well, we can, but let me finish the budget one only first, because I just threw that as a teaser when we first started, because
sure,
I want to add some components to the budget conversation to this.
I threw in, in the notes, I threw in the link, which is in Spanish, to the AMOMA bankruptcy. So
excellent.
Yes.
So with budgeting, I mean, given the fact that we are kind of in mid-season budget season, and I always joke about the fact that we actually as an industry have a season for budgeting, which is bizarre in its own right. I will be speaking next week in Phoenix. Two components. One is we're doing a panel discussion where I have some really brilliant people on the panel with me, which means I shouldn't be there, but they are. Tammy from Milestone, who is exceptionally talented. And we're going to be talking, and I am, about budgeting and using budget calculators and what to do for budgeting. But I have to say that there are components to this year's budgeting process that should be considered where they haven't been considered in these past few years, and that is
the Ouija board. Wait, the Ouija board or roulette?
No.
Which is your method to do budgeting?
Oh, I'm sorry. You do the voodoo dance and stuff. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, this is the hey, guess what? There's economies changing. And
really?
you have to decide which side of the coin you're going to go on. Are you going to go on the all in, let's make this work, and even if the economy goes down, that's a land grab because people are going to shutter their doors and you'll be able to take over more market share? Or we're shuttering our doors and hoping the storm passes and then we'll open our doors again. It sounds trite, and I know I'm trying to simplify it, but these unfortunately are the simplistic choices that get made, that ownership says, oh, wait, let's cut out training, let's cut out marketing, let's cut out any new product build stuff, let's cut out any new product buys, let's short out, just core down our operational. This is the time to reevaluate our staffing. They do all these cost saving in their mind things to best optimize the market that is diminishing in their minds.
Right. Well, that's the easier way. That's the easier way to do it than to to grow your
Right.
revenues and to shift share to your group. And there's less immediate term risk involved, right? Because
Right.
oh, if we cut $1 from our expenses, it drops straight to our bottom line. Perfect.
Right.
Let's cut them all. Can we cut them all?
Right. Let's cost ourselves into profitability.
Yeah.
Then the other is, and this is the decision between branded and unbranded, is branded reliance on, that's all right. That's why we're a branded hotel. They're going to take care of us.
Yeah.
Second is the
Overall,
non-branded.
they're going to take care of the brand, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, they need to take care of the brand, but
Yes.
that doesn't mean that they have to take care of every hotel.
That's why in the Middle
and they
Ages,
can't.
That's why in the Middle Ages, when they had too many kids, they went them for made orphanages because they couldn't feed all the little ones.
Well, and that is our rut row. So we can tail back to that.
Yeah, we'll go tail back to that.
End. Yeah.
So you have that. Then you have the independent hotels that are, we're going to go over and rely upon our website, rely upon what we have done to our market presence, but we're going to cut back on our marketing. We're going to cut back on all those things that are driving business because we need to save that money in a coffer to make sure that we can cover our expenses. And albeit you always need to make payroll, you need to make your overhead. That's fine.
Right.
The problem with all that is that when you stop putting gas in the car only runs on the last bit of gas you had left in it, and then eventually just turns into a paperweight, I guess. I don't know.
A boat anchor. I don't know.
A boat anchor. Because if you're not keep putting gas in the car doesn't run.
Well, it does. You can push the car.
That's it. Yes, you can push. You can make sure the light's on at the roadside and hope that people drive by and find you.
Yeah.
But I can truly attest that most people's websites for their hotels, most people's online strategies for their hotels is inept. There's very few that actually do it well. Most do it wrong, and even more don't even do it at all correctly. And they don't even have something that's worth being modicum to. So their 24-hour salesperson online isn't. Their social communication and reliance upon relationships with their consumer isn't. And if they're going to shut her up and thinking that they're going to go over and save money by not spending towards that and rely upon it, they're going to have a very bleak time indeed. There'll be a lot of for sale signs out.
Yeah.
In that sense, because I think that people are ill prepared for what's coming on. So in this budget world that we're looking at, I strongly suggest that you do not cut away the things that you should be spending on that drives business. I know that there's operational expenses. I've sat in that chair, but all in all, you need to feed the beast. You need revenue coming in at the top to have anything come towards the bottom. The thing you should yield against is maybe the reduction in profit possibilities, and realizing that at this point, when the market does make its changes, that you may rely upon efficiencies of operation, not profitability of that. Yes, it's great to think you're going to try to squeeze still profit out of it. All well and good. That's optimization of your product. That's great. But don't keep trying to preserve what you have had as happy and fat for the past few years and thinking you're going to be able to manage that by just simply costing yourselves into it. That doesn't work.
Well, and you mentioned the relying on the website and the whole direct booking thing. Probably violating a little bit of a JD Power thing, but because I don't know if this is public, but I'll give the stat anyway because it's a great stat, and I don't think they would be too upset with it. There's some questions in the 45,000 people and U.S. and Canada were surveyed for the annual satisfaction survey, right? And it's been going on for 23 years. It's a pretty big study. The percentage that felt there was a benefit from direct booking across this 45,000 person sample, right? All these hotel chains, 12%.
Holy crap. That's terrible.
The percentage that did not see any benefit to booking direct was 10%. So it's kind of you kind of go, well, you didn't see any benefit. It's just kind of this big, I don't know. Because
when you tie that together to, and I know it's a smaller sampling size, to Stewart's survey, that 86% of people that do book with you saw your website.
Right.
That means they're passing over you. They don't see your website did not tell them something.
Right. Well, because and you start breaking down these questions of why the ability to earn loyalty program points. Okay, there's about maybe a little bit less than a third of the people kind of go, okay, that's it. Well, that's really more of a brand program versus, that, right? That's that. Ability to, and you look at, okay, especially in the US, what percentage of hotels are, brand related? And actually all of the hotels in this particular study are brand related. They don't do it for independent properties. And there's a really good reason for that in terms of this study, because when you start drilling down, you don't have enough sample size to make a meaningful number, right? So you go, hey, how did you like the food and beverage? How did you like you don't get anything, right? Because it's just these individual hotels, and where are they? Because STR doesn't give them chain scales, right? They don't have all the independents under chain scales. So anyway, they do that, but then ability to select a room or preferences. Well, okay, about a little bit more than a quarter like that, but you can do that on OTAs. Google's letting you do that now, right? We have an article on that. Being able to deal with a hotel directly in the event of problems. Okay, again, that's between a quarter and a third. Those are okay, sorts of things, and a lot of people see that. But overall, lowest price guarantee, 33%. Right now, if the OTA is offering a lowest price guarantee, that pretty much negates that, I think. Payment upon arrival, departure, it depends. Yeah, that's maybe a book direct, but a lot of OTAs are doing that too.
Going back to the lowest price guarantee, I would say that the best thing people can do about that is just not say it, put teeth to it. If you don't put the weight on the guest to prove it, number one. Well, okay, we're going to give you a lowest price guarantee, but you have to, document it, certify it, notarize it, and fax it via, color fax on the full moon on the 13th of Friday. And, you make all these rules and stuff, and they're like, it's just not worth it.
Well, but that's by design to keep people from converting on that right. Brand promise, just right?
Flat out, look, we will make sure, and then we've done this with some of our clients, we guarantee that if we lower the price from what you've bought, we're just going to lower it to yours too.
Yeah.
We're just always make sure you have the best price, and you will not find out. You can go look. We're not asking you to look. We're not forcing you to prove this. We just know this because we're the ones putting rates out there.
Right. Yeah. And that's that kind of, logical, ethical pricing strategy. And a lot of revenue managers will say, that's insane. You will destroy your profitability. And it's like, yeah, if you don't have your pricing structured properly, you absolutely will. But understand, especially the corporate clients, boy, can you simplify your corporate contracts. All of a sudden you have a rule-based one and go, the maximum you are going to pay for this is $213 or whatever your negotiated corporate rate is, or better, because you're a great client of ours. You give us great business, and you know what? We really appreciate it, and we don't want to take advantage of you. Sort of, or your group people, right? You come in, it's, hey, the wedding's here. Yes, you're booking a year out or 18, whatever, maybe a long time in advance. These things are moving around. It's weekend business. We really appreciate you giving us this business. We're going to make sure that your guests booking into the block aren't finding stuff online that's less than what you paid, and all of a sudden you're getting comments at the wedding reception, or things that just drive people crazy,
forget right? The reason why people do that now is because we've lied to them in the past. We've said, we've
absolutely
negotiated this rate for you, and yet they find something better elsewhere. So now people have learned, don't trust us, we're lying.
Right.
2,
shop around.
Yeah. How many salespeople just do the head smack when it's like they got a negotiated rate with their group and their block doesn't fill, yet everybody shows up, and it finds out because the revenue manager, in some fit of desperation, dropped their pants 7 days before the dates, and the rate was better than what the group had, and everyone booked it through that.
Fed Hotwire.
Like, as you always say, it takes one dumb revenue manager.
That's all it is, and they always step up. They
do always step up.
There's one in the market. It's rarely the same person, and sometimes it's mistakes, right? I mean, who knows? Maybe they just aren't stupid, but a lot of times it is just flat out stupidity, right?
Yeah.
Because they're undermining their retail pricing structure. They're undermining their brand promise. And it's really interesting, again, going back to this JD Power stuff. Sorry to keep drilling on it, but I've been into 3 presentations with major hotel groups in the past 10 days or something like that. And what happens is the overall satisfaction. There are, hey Ed,
Hey,
they're happy Friday the 13th because, and this will be a national holiday moving forward, September 13th, AMOMA filed for bankruptcy today. There'll be hoteliers around the world, competitors holding hands, embracing.
It's a hospitality. It's a hotel specific holiday.
It's a hotel specific holiday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, hey, do the recap on the percentage of the 12 and the 10. I don't know if Ed caught that from what we were talking about. He was leaking some JD Power numbers.
Oh yeah. They'll probably. I don't think they'll be too upset.
They would have to watch this to know.
They would have to watch us.
See?
How would they ever?
I'm relying on Ed's strategy that nobody's watching, so we're good with this.
Yeah. So 45,000 person sample. Now these are all chain related hotels. This is very important. The methodology is very important because as you start drilling down, the Powers decided very smartly to tie this to hotel chain scales. STR only assigns chain scales to brands, and they only really kind of count the brands that have enough enough size so you can start drilling down and start looking at comparisons, right? So heavily brand related, but again, that would kind of go to, what's the importance of direct booking? Well, certain things like ability to earn loyalty points, it's about a third, less than a third.
Wow.
Ability to select room preferences, and again, 45,000 people, 4 ways.
Is it less than 1%?
What
less
do you mean?
than 1% on selecting room specific
No,
things?
it's 28%. But again, that's not really a unique. Now you can do that. We have an article on Google. You can do that through Google's. Right. What is it? RMB or whatever they're calling it. So they can do it. You can do it on OTA websites. So it's not a unique direct booking, benefit. Being able to deal with a hotel directly in the event of problems. Okay. But another thing is when Power weights all these things, the reservation component in terms of overall satisfaction is only 4%, which is really interesting. We always have to point out to the hoteliers, because it's almost identical experience for everybody. It doesn't really differentiate anything. And what a lot of the Power stuff does is really focus on what are the factors that differentiate you and drive satisfaction, right? So kind of you run through the regression analysis and you go, hey, guess what? Reservation isn't that meaningful. Very meaningful for acquiring customers, converting business, all of that sort of stuff. Yes, but in terms of overall satisfaction, not that much. So anyway, being able to deal. Looking at a direct booking benefit, about 12% thought there was a benefit, and about 10% didn't see any benefit to booking directly. So it's kind of a mess, except for lowest price guarantee, which is about a third, right? And all they want is the lowest price. They don't want to get screwed. Right.
And I was saying, add that to the thing that Stuart did with it's a smaller sample, mind you, that 86% of the people hit your website. The apathy associated, because this all came out of our budget discussion. I don't know how much you've been listening to before you jumped on it, but I was talking about this being budget season and joking about it and so forth. This is the one thing to worry about. This is we have to worry about economies changing. And the first thing that most do is button up the hatches. Let's cut out marketing. Let's cut out training. Let's cut out all these things that generate revenue. And instead just make sure we cost ourselves into profitability, which is stupid. And if you're planning on relying on brand, guess what? Brand is taking care of itself. Thank you very much. And they're not too worried about you. And if there's too many mouths to feed in your market, aka brand saturation, guess what? Little child's not going to go hungry, So all that came out of this. And to think that 10% of the people don't even think direct's worth it. 12% don't even, just see a little value. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's 22%.
It's not that important to them, right?
Yeah.
It's not that big a deal.
And now,
what is important to them?
So was JD Power looking at this? Did they ask the question of being able to bundle with transportation?
No, no, that's not.
Because
No.
I mean,
This is an outrageously
about
extensive survey, but
okay, because if you think about it, like that's always the edge. There are certain trips that I make that,
Mhm.
like, it's a lot of extra steps to book the hotel direct. Because if you're booking
oh yeah,
something that you have to figure out the flights and all of that stuff is part of it, it's like a high risk trip. Like you're
Mhm.
traveling with your family or any type of complexity where flights are as important as hotel. That's a huge disadvantage for brands.
Mhm.
oh yeah, yep,
Well,
absolutely, and the whole packaging side of it and bundling, all of that together is a huge, huge. Trust me, Google at some point will flip the switch on that, right?
Yeah.
Because you can
mhm.
unlock so much consumer value because you can tap into lower, you can
Well, and
tap
if
into
it
lower
organizes
tiers.
you can actually
Absolutely,
affect the behavior of a frequent traveler. Like you guys remember Orbitz. I mean, back in the day, Orbitz was my jam because of the way it did your trip organization.
yeah,
So if you had 6 or 7 upcoming trips and it kept them all really nicely organized
Yeah.
and
yeah,
yeah.
Well, Trippet
and
got born out of that whole process.
I still use TripIt
Yeah,
aggressively, right?
but
Because when I'm booking my stuff, I can go look at TripIt and go, oh wait, I booked that hotel just as a placeholder a long time ago. I'm not going to stay there, right? Which I know everybody doesn't do. Or I haven't booked my flight yet, right? Maybe I did book the hotel because I found an incredible right way out, but I haven't booked the air,
so,
right?
so
Because
I'm going to go
Hopper's
over,
telling me to wait.
I'm going to
So,
reveal something. I'm going to reveal something that I'm going to be putting in Phoenix next week, but I'm just going to put it here because it is stupidly effective at this point. Google's zero click right now, the answer
oh yeah,
boxes.
yeah,
Okay, if you do your schema right, if you do your content right, and you own that right now, because nobody's doing that well. They're doing it by default of what Google finds, and then Google finds the authority as to answering the question aspects of this. But if you can define the question and be the authority on it by content, you're right there. And
right.
some of the cool stuff that I've been playing with is I'm answering questions like best hotel to stay when arriving on date such and such. And I'm putting that in content on pages
Yeah.
for it. And Google's picking it up like candy because it wants its answer box. And it's literally putting it in so that people are saying best hotel to stay when arriving on Thursday.
Best hotel to stay, if you're an airport property, before an early morning flight or
Yeah, I
something
mean,
like
those are
that. If
yeah,
that's a segment, and
you
who
just
knows,
start
for a lot
putting
of these
those things
hotels,
into
it's
your content,
a chunk
and
of
your
it.
zero answer box pops up where people are like best hotel. I mean, they're looking at it there and they're saying best hotel to stay at when you're coming Thursday. Oh, really? Click. I'm there.
Yeah.
And it's nothing more than making sure that I had content for it. It's like literally at this point, with it being so new, I'm sure it's going to change as time goes on. Obviously, it's like fishing a barrel on some of this stuff. If you can identify some of the Q&A stuff that people are interested in about travel plans, like you said, transportation, availability, and you put that in specific content and you schema it correctly, it's in an answer box.
Yep.
But Lauren, I don't think your policy of putting the best hotel to stay in for an LAX flight, if the hotel's located in Riverside, I just think that's a little far.
I think that there's you have to be accurate with your data. Please do
Oh,
understand. You
okay.
can't say best hotel to stay in California and you're in Florida. Does not quite go well, but
Although some may have tried.
but if you're
actually, I
accurate,
wonder, Ed. Well, you're in Orlando. I wonder how many people book the wrong Disney hotel. They accidentally book a hotel. They're headed to Disneyland and they accidentally book whatever
I told you my Melbourne
contemporary
story,
hotel
right?
in Orlando. Yeah.
I told
Well,
you. I told you. Go ahead.
there's a big difference. I mean, Disney has way more inventory in Orlando
Yeah, that's
than they
true.
do in Anaheim.
Yeah.
So there is, and the parks are all named differently. So
That's true. Yeah.
helps.
I
I'm
told
sure
you my
it has
Melbourne
happened,
story
though.
when I was running the Hilton in Melbourne, Florida. I had a German family that showed up at my front desk, and and they're talking German only, and they seemed very upset. And I called my wife since she speaks German as well, and I said, "Please talk to these people." And then I give the phone to them, and they're talking, and then they hand the phone back to me, and my wife says, "They want to know how to get to the Great Barrier Reef." I'm like, "I'm
Oh
sorry."
my God, Melbourne, Australia. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
They flew to
wow.
Melbourne, Florida. Okay. Thinking they were
That's a
going to
tough
Melbourne,
one.
Australia.
oh my gosh.
Would you be interested as an alternative to see the Kennedy Space Center?
Well, now,
Well,
Yeah.
if they drove an hour south, they could see a coral shelf.
it was. I mean, I'm like, okay, and she's like, and I'm telling her what to tell them, and you just saw when I had the phone back, and she starts talking, and you just saw his face go.
They can buy some coral. Maybe there's a shell shop, I believe, on A1A and Satellite Beach.
Yeah,
that they
I
might
mean, we made it as
Oh
best
my
form as
God.
possible, but it was one of those, and I swear to goodness, that is true story. True story.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, you did know the flight was a little short, right?
Missed it by that much.
Missed it that much.
Drill straight down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but no, they ended up having a good time. And yes, to your point, with Cape Canaveral, we told them that if they have the time, they should be traveling farther south, hit the Keys. We tried to call some hotels we knew down there to see if we can reach some rates and stuff. So yeah,
I mean,
what's
fortunately,
the Epcot area with the
Starboard.
under the sea thing? Yeah,
Yeah.
you can go there. So it's
you can go
pretty much
around
the
the
same thing.
world at Epcot. I mean,
and even to their own country of Germany again.
right.
Exactly. Yeah, if you're homesick in the process, just stop off at the beer
Stop by.
garden.
It's a small, yeah, right. Oh well, but anyways, yes, for that, it was for that point. But yeah, like I said, we're talking about the budget season and things like this. The one article that I did pull up that was your headline one about the compression, I thought was rather interesting. It kind of goes in vein with the conversation where compression hotels are anything over 95% occupancy, has not really
they kind of
been going
edged down to, but STR kind of edged down to 90 in this, talking about it.
Oh,
right?
they did? Oh,
yeah.
I've always had it at 95. They said 90?
They kind of said, really, it's 90. And the whole article is about what's happening with alternative accommodation impacting compression nights. And so when you're extending the floor to consider it compression, I would say that's some form of impact. So
yeah, I mean, it's always been kind of an industry thing of, well, Marriott did the same thing. They changed lifetime value of a guest down to 4 visits. When did they come up with that stuff? When did they just decide to take away?
Really 4? I didn't really.
When you're just guessing, what's it matter?
True. I mean, if you're just pulling it out of your butt.
Almost got a spit take there.
Robert, this was a couple of years ago. Marriott decided that the definition in their mind of lifetime value of a guest was 4 visits.
Wow.
After that, they're considered a new guest.
8
Oh,
nights.
that's why.
Yeah, so they have no new brands.
Wow.
Yeah, they decided, hey, you know what? We're going to consider lifetime value of a guest as 4 visits. After
It's
4
an
visits,
amazing way to get massive ROI on everything you do is by resetting the tracker.
change the definitions.
Exactly.
It's like, seriously, when did that happen? But yeah, this seems the same thing. So change it from 95 to 90. Okay, but even still, even if those numbers are skewed down to the 90 percentile, the fact that compression hotels have been on the decline since 2015 is rough, because that means we've been optimizing only via rate and we've sacrificed occupancy. It also means, and this, I think, from a brand perspective, it diminishes the point system for them, because one of the things about branded hotels with their redemption systems for membership was you get better ADR, of course, when you're a compressed hotel, because you get full rack at that point, or best available. Sorry, not rack, best available at the time that the redemptions are in, compared to if you're below compression, you get a flat rate. And
now I should say STR mentioned that. That's not the brands moving their compression basis. They were just looking at this and saying, well, it's really, if you look over 90% when you analyze this stuff instead of 95. But yeah, the hotel chains have not lowered it from 95 to 90. I should make that clear.
Okay. All right. Well, in that sense, but yeah, it's still just the fact that that's the case. I mean, there's just so many pieces to the puzzle right now that is really causing concern for me, because as I'm talking to some hotels about budgeting, they're now at this point where they're coming to us saying, okay, so we need a marketing budget. Now we've determined our forecasted revenues. And when I start asking about forecasted revenue, I had this great discussion on RFP, actually, the one I had to jump off of last week to jump onto. They always responded to me and says, well, what is your proposed budget? And I says, my candor sometimes should be tamed. I should tone it down a little bit. But I'm like, That's not a really relevant question.
Because that's
And
an effing stupid question.
I don't know. One, you didn't give me enough information to
Yeah.
give you a forecasted budget because there's no occupancies, ratios of length of stays, ADRs. I have no sense of what you do to know what I should tell you to spend. Two, telling me what you have to spend is like going into a car lot and saying, "Hey, I got $50,000 to buy a car. What can I buy?" By golly, we got $49,999 right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Every
it's
car in the lot, special today.
Yeah. You do is you build your budget on your conversions and your value propositions, and through your testing, you spend monies towards them to determine whether that they hit your KPIs, and you build your budget based on performance, not on expectation. You have
Imagine
goals.
that.
You're wrong.
Again,
you want
crazy
goals.
talk. Just crazy talk.
And I'm trying to explain this to them, and they're like, "So you don't have a budget for us?" At the end of the conversation, yeah, I don't have a budget for you, but I'll make you a mock budget, but it's going to be smoke and mirrors and BS, and they'll waste your time and mine because it's not going to have any relevancy.
Like anyone else's who answered your question with a budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if anybody gave you a budget based on the information you didn't provide, and you're going to believe it's anywhere close to what reality is, good luck with your program. Happy days, you know. And I know I don't even know if I haven't heard back from them, so maybe I shoot myself in the foot for being too damn honest. But it's like, seriously, people, you can't do this in reverse. You have to do it from the bottom up, not the top down.
Or you just give them what they want. You go, oh, well, 7% of your top line revenue. Just do that. Just do the math.
Well,
And then it goes, that's too high. Oh, I'm sorry, 5. And then you're good.
Okay, I kind of damaged myself.
I just saved you 40%.
I kind of damaged myself too because I said, well, so let me just start from the beginning to show you what I'm talking about. What is your direct channel contribution? What are you talking about? What's your direct channel contribution? 70%. Really? Wow, that's amazing. What is your direct channel? Well, and they threw OTAs in there. I'm like, OTAs your direct channel?
Was it a branded hotel?
No, it's an
direct versus transient, I guess maybe.
And I was like, well, our website drives out. So I said, let's just do it by math. Let's just show you why I'm saying what I'm saying. I said, so, and I'm going to make the numbers different than what they are. So you have a 100-room hotel, you're 70% direct channel contribution, and you're, say, 75% occupancy. What's your annual occupancy? Oh, they didn't even know that. So, okay, fine. We'll just say 75%.
Did not know their annual occupancy. Wow.
No. And then I go and say, so let's see.
Is this the owner of the hotel as well, or just the management for an
all
owner?
All of them.
So wait, let me just ask this. So did it turn out that the budget was set off of some level of performance above the debt service that they need to cover?
I'm imagining.
Or last year's budget, probably. I'm serious.
How much money were they willing to spend?
Probably last year's
I showed
budget.
them the math. When I said, okay, so, and I'm not looking at your website, I'm going to say your ADR is $250 a night, just since you don't have an answer for that one. So for $250 a night, and you say 75% occupancy in a 100-room hotel, and I start coming up with total gross revenue. Let's say your direct channel is 70%, just because we're playing with smoke and mirrors anyway, so you have a total amount of that. So you're going to spend this much money, which is actually less than 2% of that, to drive how much revenue? 70%, really? Yeah. If I even did it at a 20-to-1, I won't even hit half that number. That's why the budget doesn't work. You can tell me all the world what you want to spend. I'm going to tell you what you need to spend. If you want to hit that particular number. And so I probably buried myself by being that candid, but it's like, look, if you're going to hire me, you're going to hire truth. Okay.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you shit. I'm not here to say yes. There's cheaper people to say yes. If you want to know the truth of what it's going to take for you to do your business, I'm going to tell you.
Well, let's be honest. There's also more expensive people to say yes as well.
That's true. There are more, and they'll probably hire them. Like this. These people are great because they told us everything we wanted to hear.
Yeah.
But it's
so you guys know we've been experimenting in a new space with some new product, and through that, we've been paying attention to what some other products in the marketing stack do. The amount of over attribution that exists, even inside a portfolio of products that are part of the same company, all claiming the same 100% attribution of a guest. Yeah. And hotels are aware of it. I get a candid, our email marketing platform, if they sent an email, even if it hasn't been opened and that person books a group, they take credit for the group.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, so how can you tell what it's doing? And they're like,
We can't really tell.
can't really.
Looks
But then
good.
I'm-
We think it helps. Yeah.
But
Looks
then I'm
nice.
finding out that some of these, like the email marketing's taking credit for it. The abandonment technology is taking credit for it.
Ah.
The PPC is taking credit
The
for it.
PPC is taking credit for it.
Yeah.
It just keeps going to where there's like 5-6 different silos taking 100% credit for this guest, and it's like,
And you've discovered a business model, Ed.
I put a brand, I put an agency that I'm having to work in collaboration with on a spot that made my point because I was getting tired of their doublespeak. The owner was on the call, and we're going through the process, and they were touting how they had a 9-to-1 return. That's awesome. And I'm looking, and I don't see it in the traffic reports at all. They totally just took credit for just pie in the sky. Sunshine came up. Yes, I made the sun yesterday, and here it is. Thankful.
Yeah.
And so I asked the owner,
and they got the account what 6 months ago.
and I asked the owner. I said, so I asked this is Bob. I don't want to use his name. Did you see an uplift? Because I'm telling you, that came from here. They're saying it came from them. So you must have gotten a 10-fold increase on something, right? Your revenue, you're the guy that you're cashing the checks, right?
Wow.
Did you get the money?
You must be the most excited person on
Right.
the face of
You
the
must think this is awesome because these guys are saying they increased you gave them $1 and they gave you $9 back. He's like, I don't know where it came from. No. I got the same, and I said, so which segment grew? Okay, so maybe you didn't get more money. Maybe one segment went down. Okay, let's be realistic. Channels go down, other channels go up. They displaced something else. Maybe they did diminish your OTAs and increase the direct, And he's like, no. And I'm like, so even though they really did a good job, and I'm saying that all the numbers are the same that we've been doing before, but they said they incrementally did all this, they didn't generate any money. No. Okay. Well,
but they got paid. But they got paid. Yeah. So.
Yeah. It's like, where to go, and they started was, well, it could be not actualized yet. Oh, you're right. It could not be actualized. So I asked the ownership, and management was on there too. I said, so where did you see the increase in occupancy? So actually, we're going to talk about the fact that we're having problems. We're seeing some soft spots. Maybe it's 120 days out. Maybe we're long shot. You guys really sold some good stuff at the, and it's like, no numbers are actually no. I'm like, so where the 9-to-1, where the hell did that stuff go? I just, because I was getting tired of them, hey, look, the sun, thank me for it. It's like, no, it didn't.
Yeah. Well, we're learning a lot about that right now. Which is, it's a delicate conversation to have, to go, hey, person, you told us and bragged to us that this thing you were doing was doing this. You now see it wasn't.
Yeah.
How do you want to handle that? Like, we don't care.
I'm feeling awkward. How are you feeling?
Yeah.
Yes.
How are you going to bring that to your boss?
Yeah.
Or do we just try to figure out how to make the number you thought was happening real?
Yeah.
Now, fortunately, it does appear we actually, in the first attempt, are getting slightly over the real number. Like the number she thought, like now it's real.
Huh,
it's pretty interesting. Nice. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It was not real before.
Yep. Well, and that's it. And I mean, it's funny. I mean, the way a lot of these groups promote themselves, they'll say, we have 40,000 customers or something who are you, and it's framed on some sort of landing page for talking about a booking engine or, business intelligence or whatever. And they've aggregated together all their accounts. And yes, maybe they're spending a couple $100 a month on some little, competitive monitoring product or something like that, but not using the booking. And so it's kind of like that. And look at these, look at these returns and look at all this great stuff, and the CRM thing's even better. And you're like, yeeks.
Yeah. Yeah, Stuart and I talk about this a lot because both of us take a very ethical approach to reporting ROI.
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
Stuart?
Yeah,
Stuart? The
Stuart.
former from the former British penal colony? Really?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yeah, but then you find out this stuff, and then you ask the question very gently when you find the data that tells you that, and you go, "Did you know this was happening?" Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. Do you pay extra for this? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have to say the reason is, and this is like my Vanguard soapbox thing, it's out of ignorance of awareness of an understanding a better solution.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and this is where obviously with what we're getting into, the first thing we started with was making sure you could understand the impact of everything.
Right.
Because quite honestly, what we were getting into, I mean, we had an idea that we were heading in the right direction, but ultimately didn't know, and actually didn't care if we were right the first time. We just cared that we could measure it, because if we can measure it, we can make it better.
Right.
So a lot of the early infrastructure was around understanding what's happening.
And also, I'm going to call them out for this. I mean, the places like Triptease and so forth, they go and they attack the revenue manager who doesn't understand the methodologies of attribution modeling, marketing impacts, and so forth, and convince them to put this in as an augmentation to direct channel amplification. And then the revenue manager doesn't want to be caught with being dumb. The revenue manager doesn't want to have made a bad decision. So they go all in and double up and say, well, what you're telling me is not correct. And I then show them the data. This is their own data. This is what they say about themselves. And then they don't understand, because they're also the same people that say, well, I want to get a report on PPC and that Google paid stuff. Give me two different reports. You do know PP. Okay. Let's, they don't understand. They use words, and they were in a position of decision making, and they put themselves into making decisions on things that they don't. And I have to keep reminding clients and alike, it's like, this is what we're here for. We bring it to our attention so we can let you know, for you to make a decision. We're not making your decision, but let you know an informed professional insight as to what these things are. Don't sign a freaking contract, because these people are going around going, oh, we'll give you 3 months free. I'm fighting now the very fact that it's like, look, I'm not going to shut off our meta and hand it over to these people because they're going to give you 3 months free, because they're going to take credit for stuff that isn't theirs to begin with. And I'm trying to explain this to them, and it's like, this isn't, and it's all it's this attribution theft is real.
Well, and that the compelling argument of it's free, right, is the huge, there's no risk. You don't pay up front. It's only you're only compensating us for arrived business. What could be easier? And then you provide the number and they go, great. Because again, there's no connection. You yank on the end of the string, the bell doesn't ring over there. Sort of thing. There is no, the string just pulls, right? So they just go, okay, and they look at it and go, that's great, it's working. Yeah. This is
well, I mean, so Lauren knows what we're working on, and we're actually doing something the right way, instead of just trying to bolt garbage on top of garbage to say, hey, look, we made it better. We're actually rethinking something really key in the stack. And in rethinking it, we're getting aggressive in experimentation. And so we built it so it's permanent A/B test mode. Like, so the conversations are, hey, we'd like to test this. And if there's any resistance, we're like, all right, 5% of your web traffic. I mean, is that good? And then it's like, oh, yeah, that's fine. And then we get to go test it. But some of the stupid stuff that we were just like, well, let's try this. We're not going to put a lot of effort into thinking through it because no one's doing it. So let's just put it in the process and see what it does. And then it's like, bam, it's like huge. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
To the point where like, I'm like, wow. Like when you can rethink a process to like what's changed, what's important, what you know about the consumer, you're going to have so much more impact than just continuing to bolt crap onto old crap that like you didn't even check to make sure, like, hey, that thing that exists that everyone's doing, who originally designed it? Did they put thought into it, or was it a hack? Because you don't even
Lauren,
know that in this industry,
oh man, Lauren, before Ed was on, remember that product that we worked up? We were calling it Crap Cubed. It sounds like that isn't really the right thing to do. Okay, so, you went out
Robert,
and bought crapcube.com.
as you know, as you correctly put in your email this morning, this is me just offering an alternative point of view.
But and I say this not because I think not because I think Steve Jobs was a great manager or leader. On the contrary, I think he was a tyrant. But his concept of how he approached projects, I will give him full credit for. Rather than be limited by what the capabilities are currently, you find what solution you want and you create the capabilities to succeed in it. He didn't build what he built before he passed based on the fact that it existed. He built it because he felt that that's what was needed, and he created what was necessary to fulfill it.
Well, and
unfortunately, I think Apple has kind of jumped the shark in that world. Okay. And they now only succeed in building what they're capable of doing because they have to not ripple the effect that and all these manufacturers make cases and things for them and all this other stuff. So they keep it similar to what they had before. I still have fingers crossed that there's still a vision in the company that 2 years from now, we're going to be talking to badges and things and phones go away. But I don't know if it may be them. It may be somebody else that comes up with the idea that let's do it differently.
They then buy because they have more cash. Than
they have more cash. Yeah. But the belief that there's still that spark of creativity of simplify what's complex, build what is impossible, is still in there somewhere, rather than build what is ordinary, make it the same as everything else, and put another label on it.
Although I will say
simplification of what's complex is so, again, coming from this JD Power, that and consistency are just,
but also just
massive
too. It's why is it this way? Like,
right. Ask why. Always ask why. Why do we do this?
Why is it this way? And it's funny. You like, if no one knows, then all right, let's go there. Let's figure out why it's this way.
But again, you need to know the impact of what's happening even that way, though. I mean, and if the hotels aren't even at that point, it's like
they're not. They're also
Right.
all wrong on a lot of the stuff that they think are KPIs. Like,
right.
We've been finding more and more of this, and so now we're kind of looking at it going, all right, so what do you address first? Do you just fix it for them, knowing that the measurable that they look at, that's the wrong measurable, will also move in fixing it? Or do you actually help them understand what's going on?
Yeah. I've been beating a wall trying to educate. I always had the belief that if you could educate your relationship with your clients so they understood the value propositions more precisely, then they would appreciate what was being done for them. And I've found that in some cases, it's just better to fix the problem.
They don't want to know.
And let them live in the paradigm that they have, because they literally don't care.
Yeah.
They just, at the end of the day, they're not interested. This is not something that they're concerned about. If you can show what number it is that they are interested in changing, then that's good. Because
make the pain go away. Just, I've got, something, I need to put a Band-Aid on it. In some cases, they only want the Band-Aid.
Yeah,
they don't want the cure. It depends.
We actually now are starting to look at this and go, this may be like one of the core fundamental issues that's like causing a lot of this problem of direct channel. Because the other thing is, I mean, let's all face it, the direct channel easily is as expensive as OTA on most days.
Probably, yeah. They just can't measure. They just don't measure all of that overhead and risk and everything else associated with it. Yeah.
Right. So, and it's because they're just not converting as well. And we know they have the opportunity, because we know 80% of consumers are checking the hotel website as part of the process of booking.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not getting 80% of the consumer in most cases.
No,
not even close to.
Yep.
Not more of a fraction of that. It's not even a relevant percentage.
And the booking process, I mean, if you really, I really should try to put something together if I have some time on some animations of going through. Everybody now has gone to exactly the same, destination, the little widget, the destination,
again,
arrival, departure, number of people. Even the way things drop down, though, are
Mhm.
now exact. The calendar pops
Well,
up
some of
with
that,
2
Robert,
months, and you hit
some of
click
that's
one versus the other.
because if you want to build towards ADA compliance, you use the native
Well,
of the OS on the
right,
drop down. You use the native of the OS on calendar.
right. Yeah.
And doing that makes it easier to go ADA, but that also gets rid of any differentiation in those features.
Oh yeah, well, and actually, I mean, the Android stock calendar stuff is horrible, right? Compared to Apple, right? Apple, you got
Yeah.
kind of little roller things. The Android one, I mean, the number where you go, oh, it's just the calendar, and you've got the back arrow, and I love it when they go, what's your birth date? And for me, that's
Oh.
really, really, it's like I need to ice my thumb
Yeah.
to continue.
You need the one that like spins like the wheel on Wheel of Fortune.
No, and it's going back 1 month at a time, and they've built it so you can't type the date directly into the field, right? So there's no way to put it in, and you're just like, oh, good God. And I've seen sites.
All you need
where
to do is go back 21 years and just hit a date. It don't make no damn difference.
Well, yeah, but some of them they'll use.
But this is the problem of some of the stuff we're looking at is, all right, so everyone that is like trying to deal with this is doing something to try to push more people through. But, what do you think the most popular dates searched are on everyone's booking engine?
Oh, like tonight.
Yeah, the default.
Yeah, whatever the default is. Yeah.
So how are you doing cart abandonment if you
Yeah.
can't even trust that the dates they put in are actually the dates they're interested in?
Right.
Right. Well, or you've used some sort of analytics to go, hey, on whatever Friday afternoons in September, we're a ski resort. People seem to be looking in January or something like, whatever. And they look for 7 night stays or 3 nights, and you can take a guess at that. And a few sites do a little bit of that. I don't think they're really using AI. I think they're just kind of going, hey, we've got some rules here which we think are kind of helpful.
They've built algorithms, like they're not AI. Like, right. Yeah. But it is.
Well, it's the same reason why you have to isolate your IPs that you're using at the hotel. You're like, oh my God, look at all the people that are in the city looking for the hotel. No, that's everybody at the hotel getting on the website because they're logging into the Wi-Fi or logging into the website.
Which puts them on your homepage.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you have to isolate the same thing with it. Yeah, it's the same thing. We actually, when we look at, funny you mentioned that, the dates of interest and so forth, we look directly at same day bookings as a wash. It just is like that we look at what we have versus what was actually, and we don't even put that into the statistics of date search because it's just not. We use it as data points because we put in the GTM shell that way, that we look at the dates that they modified, not the date that started it. Right. If they leave it, albeit that, but that's already same day bookings. There's nothing we can do. If they're looking to stay the same day that they're looking, the website's there. We have nothing else to really to do anything with them.
Right. Yeah.
But if we're looking at what we want to do to target future opportunities, we look at the modified dates. So
Yep. No, there's room for improvement. I think is the bottom line.
a little bit, just a little bit though. Just
or
a little
you can just do more spammy stuff like pop-ups and like
pop-unders, pop-ups,
pop-unders, and you know what? Let's just give people rates. It is a rock solid. It's a rock solid strategy to have rate comparison put on your website because everybody knows that if it's on the internet, it must be true. There's no reason to go any other website and look for rates if your website pops it up for you.
Well, but again,
listen to Triptease, they'll tell you that.
but a lot of groups, they'll set things. They go, here are the rates on the other websites. If one's lower, don't show it and stuff like. I mean, it's just a really garbage stuff going on, right? Whereas I think that's where Travel Tripper really, I think that's how they've really moved ahead on getting some of their things. I'm sure that was probably for the Caesars guys. They went, the right let's dynamically change it. You go, we found something lower. Let's maybe notify someone to let them know whatever the hell's going on to
salvage the relationship with the session.
Yeah,
You know,
and
like
go, hey, well, that's what we were saying before, that the logic before you came on, the logic of pricing, of the best rate guarantee, should not fall on the traveler to go, oh, well, if you can do this within 6 hours of this and do that, that's ridiculous. You should be, the perfect world, which the travelers would appreciate, would be, hey, you know what? Yeah, we lowered rates. We know you booked way in advance. That's great, but we came up, whatever, we're giving you a better deal, sort of thing. Or you don't even have to give them the cash. You may be able to say, hey, we're going to give you an F&B credit for whatever.
we're going to
Or something
waive
like
your
that.
resort fee.
Mhm.
Well, now you're talking crazy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We've
I'm just waiting for how resort fees interact with the whole whatever component-based selling, right? That's going to be a really interesting intersection at that. So I don't know.
But the good news is we know, because
Attribute-based selling.
they've not been correctly measuring anything to date.
Oh yeah. Oh, the
So
attribute-based selling is going to be through the roof. Yeah.
Yeah.
You bet.
Well, they
Yep.
can take credit for anything just by stepping in line. That's all they're doing, is that they're stepping in line and saying, yeah, even though the person was walking into your lobby to come to check in, we walked them up to your front desk, so we're the one that brought them to you. That's
Yeah.
literally what
Right.
they do.
Yeah.
So
I had this conversation with them. I was trying. It's absurd to think, with already the point that they're not tracking correctly direct channel contribution, already that they don't augment their ability to do better direct channel contribution, that they're now allowing other people to augment that and take credit for what little was being
Hey.
done.
Oh,
Hey,
and do it in a really healthy way by nuking the source. So that way,
Yeah.
2 years
yeah.
from now, 2 years from now, you'll have no clue
Where anything
of
came
anything
from.
you did.
That's right.
Yeah.
Erase, cover the track. Well, and just wait for NDC with the airlines, because when they come through with that, it is going to be a bold new world where they go, ho, 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 hang on. They were on an American Airlines flight. They are our customer because they were there before. And if you don't think that's going to happen, boy, don't be naive.
Mhm. Well, speaking of that, you had the article about Hilton doubling down on its membership.
Oh, I had a very interesting interaction with Hilton today. Yeah, that's a great thing this morning. I'm going to be staying at the Arizona Biltmore. Sorry, Lauren, not because you recommended it so highly. Before, but somebody in attribution may be tacking that into they may be tracing that and getting credit for tracing that conversation of your stay and getting credit. But no, so I went in, and no, it's actually through a group thing. So somebody's booking me there, which is fine. And so I went on to the Hilton website because my honors number isn't there. And Hilton has made a kind of big deal about, the book direct and all these great things that can happen for you if, you book direct and they know your number before. So I go onto their website, and they did, I eventually found the find reservation button, which is way down, like a couple tiers down, as opposed to being right up there at the top. So anyway, I found it, click on it, put it in, boom, you're there, everything's good. But there's no way, even though I'm logged in, to tie that to my, that booking to my, my ID or my profile. So I go onto the little chat thing, and Lauren, it was a chat bot. So I thought, should I call somebody? No, I'm going to see how the chat works. So of course I say, hey, can you attach, this? I even gave them the ID to my, to my number. And its response, I probably have it here, was basically, when you arrive at the hotel, tell the front desk. It's like, oh, that's really good. That's really consistent with all of your messaging and brand promise and everything. And you're like, oh, that's a disaster. So then it asked for a human, right? Or basically I replied back when this is bad and kind of said this. The human then said, oh, can you, and I'm logged in on their website. That's great. And I gave them, here's my confirmation number. Can you tell us your profile, your profile number? It's like, I'm logged in, guys. How are you even tracking this? This is just really disappointing. Really, really disappointing. So,
That's where it's a big fail. It's like, yeah, and this is where every justification that Stuart and everybody else had about bashing bots comes into play. If you're going to
If
do
you're
it,
not going to
don't do
do
it this
it,
way.
the best it can be done,
Don't
you're better
do it.
off
Don't do it.
not doing it.
Do not
Right.
do it. You can't. It's like I was explaining that when I was talking about the use of bots, I was saying it's like launching a boat with not putting the plug in first. If you don't have everything sealed up, that there is no way for them to fall out wrong, then don't do it, because these are the holes that fall in. Hi, tell us about yourself. I'm on your freaking website. I'm logged the frick in. This should be on your screen.
Right.
You should be saying, "Hi, Robert. How can we help you, Hilton Rewards member? We're so thankful you're going to stay with us." Not, "Who the hell are you and can you tell us about you?"
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah. Because a little independent hotel who maybe built their website on WordPress and maybe used Gravity Forms and maybe I don't know, uses Salesforce or something like that, can do that.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's insane.
And it's certainly doesn't justify the Biltmore. Biltmore is I mean, yes, they're in renovation right now, but they're a beautiful hotel. Classic. Stay in the Cary Grant room, by the way. Beautiful room.
Well, they've booked me. So, but anyway, actually, and then to make matters worse, because I got a phone call, right, which lasted like 3 or 4 minutes. It wasn't a long call.
You lost your person.
I lost the person, right? So I get to start over. Because, you know, those chat sessions are taking up so much bandwidth, or a channel, or what exactly would that be? I don't. We got to keep our session count down.
Minimum
I don't know.
viable solution to sell more franchises.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, not for
and they approach it that way. Well, you know, we had Stephanie on.
Actually, I'll give you a perfect example of this. I stayed this past weekend in Boca at a hotel. Great experience, actually. I'm like really good. The brand, I booked it through thebrand.com because some hotel in this brand signed me up for a loyalty thing. So I remembered that and went and searched for my number and registered it and got to use some of my points because this brand does that. And then we go stay. They were amazing. Upgraded us, gave us an ocean view room, like gave us free drinks because we were a loyalty member, you know, all this stuff. Great food, great time, great room. All of it's been undone by one stupid thing. So I went on their site, and their site has a, hey, if you need to contact us for anything, here's the email address. Well, we forgot a pillow in the room that we had brought. And I just want to see if someone found it, and if they could ship it back to us, I'd pay to ship it. I've emailed them 6 times.
That property, the actual property, to their general email?
It's their email address.
Yeah, not the corporate one. It's just
correct.
It's the actual
that
property.
property's email address.
Wow. Well, you
and
know, they did check that.
I've sent it from 2 different email addresses, thinking maybe my Flip2 one could have gotten caught up in something. So I sent it from my personal, changed the subject, you know, and I don't want to call them.
Did you send it from the same address that's in your reward or your loyalty program number? That right there should be like,
so
ding, ding, ding.
So here's the thing. Don't put that freaking email anywhere if you're not going to stay on top of it.
You know, you make me feel good about some things, and this is recommendations I have for my independent hotels, but that I give them early on when we start doing guest engagement and guest feedback and so forth, is I ask them, whatever mediums that we engage with them, there is also a unique email that is for anybody once they've stayed to resonate with us. When we do the post-stay stuff, there's a completely different email that's attached to that. That is, and I told him, I says, you have to change your paradigm about this. This isn't give it to the weakest link in the conversation. Give it to the housekeeping person who's already too busy. doing stuff.
Absolutely.
I think they're going to sit down and answer emails. Give it to somebody that has the authority and the responsibility at the property to react and act on it. And so one, and I have to give you call them out for props. Concord Hotel New York, one of our clients, they are at the peak of their consumer replies. Where they're within 2 hours of anything that comes on any channel at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Their night auditors included in this conversation. Everybody is within 2 hours of reply. And so we're proud to be that every platform says these people are immediate on responses. They're quick, what have you. And during business hours, it's even faster than that. But the latest is 2 hours.
But hang on, one question there. So what happens at an hour 45 if nobody's answered? Do you have some triggers that go off to?
Well,
I mean, do you have
the fire alarm in the hotel goes off,
exactly.
which causes all of
Sprinklers.
the guests to
the sprinklers to Bob. No, actually, I
have.
The cool part is, and that this I'm worried about it because the GM is just now this past week changed. We had a GM that was for 14 years before it was even a hotel, and she had
and because of Lauren's process and getting all these urgent emails with 30 more minutes to respond.
She set up on her phone that email account when it got sent was there. She had on her phone that there would be a notification that would go off if she didn't see another email on it, so that she would actually be the one that monitors it. We didn't set up a automation to this, and now talking to the new GM, we might have to find some automation. To your point about we might need a second backup because the other GM doesn't seem to have the same focus.
Urgency.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you need
so anyways,
but
you
need to set up those processes. I was just going to say real quick,
and I know
you need to set up those processes to go.
But
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to. Now I was going to say when I start talking, you need to set up those processes not only on the emails. Yeah, I know. No. You need to go set up those processes on the email. You need to set the escalation processes, and you need to set the tracking for first touch resolution, right? That's probably your main KPI, right? How many of these are actually getting resolved?
And everyone listening,
and how are you tracking that?
There are platforms that do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But understanding it sounds silly, but I'm so annoyed with this hotel now. Like,
absolutely,
so annoyed.
Now you just want to be an antagonist to it because.
No, actually,
I go that way. I go, it's like,
no, because here's the thing. It will build over time.
Yeah.
So, like, if they never contact me, I've now lost the pillow, whatever. They've completely already undone all the great service that they had done. And it is just straight down to, you know what? Then take the freaking email off your site. Because you're not responding to the email. I'm not going to give them a bad review. I'm not going to jack them up over that because, quite honestly, like, it's not most of the staff's fault that no one's responded to me. It's either whoever put it on the website that shouldn't have put it on the website, or it's whoever's responsible for receiving that email and checking it isn't doing that. It's one or two people that have basically undone what the restaurant staff had built up, what the concierge who talked to my son because my son was wearing a Pokemon shirt and like he showed interest in my 5-year-old. Like, they did everything so well.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect example of, if you're not going to do something to the best of your ability, just don't do it. Because would I have been annoyed if I went to the site and it said, please call, and I called? No. But now I don't want to call.
See, I would.
Now you want to see how long.
I'm not going to go over and bash them, but I would want to make the GM. I would like to let the GM know that his team, when they do alley rallies and NetMez and all this other stuff in the morning, to bring this to the team and say, look, guys, we had a perfect circumstance that had to fail. That this is, I'm going to fix this. And this is a chance for them to be a good leader and say, look, I'm going to fix this. You all did phenomenal, according to this letter from this person, but we one thing that we didn't complete the cycle with is now to our detriment because we've ruined all the good that we did. So let's make it an example. Let's go buy a pillow or find out what pillow it was and send them with a bow on it. And say,
they would be incredibly disappointed if they found out what pillow it was. It's like a $200 pillow.
Well, again, it goes to the point of,
Yeah.
of these are the things that make the stories. This makes the stories, and you know best of all. These are the stories you share. If that
Right.
hotel
Oh,
went its
absolutely.
way out and did something like that, you're going to talk about this on nonstop. Just like Robert talks about his wonderful wedding experience in Austin. He loved the hotel he was in. They
Yeah,
did
see, I'm not
everything
going to be Robert Cole. I'm not going to name the hotel
right.
because, you know.
It wasn't a big enough.
What hotel was that,
transgression.
Robert, that you enjoyed so much in Austin?
The Westin in Austin downtown.
Robert.
Yeah.
Oh God. But Robert, I've heard you take the same approach to hotels with far lesser transgressions. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
they should.
Stuart,
Well, yeah, and I called
if
out.
you
I
haven't
called
noticed,
out Hilton
isn't
today,
going
but they
to be
should.
on
Yeah.
today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did
So
call
why
me.
isn't Stuart on the call today? Why is he on the
Because
show?
this pesky thing of having to like
A client?
get some quotes out to
What?
prospects that had asked for them.
Stuart.
His-
First rule of show.
Yeah. His dedication is surely just misaligned. Like the show
Holly
above-
says that now this is Holly's fault. I'm playing Holly dead down. I mean, I'm going to see her next week even. Holly decided to do a paid for training program where she gets money during the time of our show. What kind of priority is that? That she decided to go get money.
Holly is one of those people that is just nice above all else. I'm going to say that chances are that is completely untrue. She is mortified by the things that are said on this show. And so therefore she doesn't want her reactions constantly caught on tape.
That's entirely possible, but she said
You saw the little picture in
she's
the
doing
email, right?
such a great job with the training program, influencer
I did.
sales, that she has a training program she had to run on Friday mornings because she has so many people wanting to join her training program that that overlapped our show. So that's why she hasn't been able to be on the show, because she's making money at this time. And then, I did say that Tim gets a pass this week. So that Tim had a unfortunate reality of why he couldn't be on the show this week. But, Valen, same things. Like, I'd love to see her again. I'd like to, hear her perspective on all the things that are right in the universe and what's wrong.
Valen just
And then
thinks she's too good
Dan,
for
what's
us.
this about having not
Just-
to work to get up at 5 a.m.? I mean, he's walking around all the islands of Hawaii, so why can't he get up at 5 a.m. and be
Well,
on
I
the
mean,
show?
I was actually late because I was talking to a customer. So,
But you still made it. See, so that right there, that's good. So,
Yeah.
Hey, let's do the rot roll, because I do actually have to end at the top of the hour today. You guys can go,
What?
but I mean,
Really?
you don't have time to talk about UCF this weekend?
my what this weekend? I'm on a high school reunion this weekend, my 40th. Oh, UCF, yeah, right. UCF. I'm going to
40th.
Wow.
Holy
Yeah.
crap, you are so much older than me.
Yeah, I know, right? But it should be fun. It's in Ocala, so I'll be up there and see
40th.
some old friends. Yeah.
God.
Yeah. This will be fun. And then next week I'm in Phoenix with the live. Your
Your reunion's old enough to retire almost.
Yeah, I know, right? Say that with a smile. Speaking of which, before we get into the Ruh-Roh, I am announcing formally that we are doing the first online hospitality marketing summit in November. Yes.
Really?
Planned,
Wow.
played, and set up and organized and going forward. I'll talk to you all about whether you have any participation interest at all. But it's
Oh,
Can I
Ed,
do a
he's going
section
to
on
tell you-
attribution theft?
you can do whatever section you would want for, because I'm putting the agenda items together. Right now, the base price to join is $199 for 3 days, 2 hours a day.
Nice.
Yep.
Wow.
It'll be early part of November before holidays kick in. It's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Just in time
noon.
for budgets. Like, this is great.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in 2 hours, 12 to 2 is
I
what the
love it.
plan for the scheduling of it is. So, yeah, we're going to be launching it and running it, and you all are more than welcome to participate in it. And I'll tell you the rev share and all the rest of the stuff. So, worked out all the details, got all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, and we're going forward. So, all good stuff.
Nice.
Ed, Ed,
I love
he's
it.
already given me the rev share. It's the same rev share off of this program.
Oh no,
Exactly.
this is real rev share. This is real rev share. I can give you double what this show's doing.
Exactly.
Just ask Siri.
He's got
just ask Siri what
10x.
0 divided by 0 is, Lauren.
Or multiply by 2.
Exactly.
Anyways, if we want to hit the Rob Row, I'm more than happy to. Like I said, I'm actually, to tell you why I'm ending at the top of the hour, is I invited a few friends to come over.
Nice.
I'm making Cuban sandwiches.
No.
I made them. I took and did an 18-hour pork roast on a pork shoulder, made Cuban pork, and it came out really good. I handed a bunch out to friends, and they liked it so much. I said, you know what? Let me grab some fresh Cuban bread and come on over to the office this afternoon, and I'll make some Cuban sandwiches. So
Wow.
No symptoms of trichinosis. So that's good. Always test. Always
test the pork first. But yeah, no, the 18. I've been the Bubba Gump of pork. I'm the Pied Piper of pork because it was a 14-pound shoulder. So
Wow.
it took 18 hours to roast, and it came out really good. But I'm going to make some sandwiches for it now. So they're coming over at the bottom of the hour, 1:30, and so I figured by 1 o'clock if I start getting prepped for it, since I'm doing it in the back of the office in our little kitchenette, I need a half hour to start getting that sandwiches pressed and started up. So I'm going to invite you all over, but Ed, you'd have to drive fast, dude.
This rut row is really bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Yeah. It is a big rut row.
That's a really bad rut row. Like,
so well, just to recap quickly,
it's frightening.
Minor International, which is a great group. Isaac Gerzenstreng is down in Thailand working for them now. It has a little problem with the JW Marriott Phuket, which they filed a lawsuit. The hotel suffered a 20% drop in gross operating profit in the first 6 months of 2019 compared to the same period the previous year, and they're claiming just under 19 million US for the loss. And that decline in performance was due to, quote, in large part, the failure to drive business to the hotel, and is further caused by the recent changes to Marriott's loyalty program, which has severely reduced revenues of the hotel for such business. And so Marriott, because of the consolidation of Starwood, currently manages 11 hotels in Phuket, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And the Marriott, it's been operating for 25 years, right? They're saying Marriott's saying, well, we've been in Thailand for 25 years and have 50 properties, but yeah.
Here's why this is scary. If they're successful in this lawsuit, that sets a precedent.
Yeah.
Right before an expected drop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah, because now you're talking about perfect storm effects and so forth, because that there's a dormant community of people talking about brand saturation, about brand dilution, about a lack of competitive ability in per market. And I know this, with Stephanie, bless her heart Stephanie was our guest last week, and she handles brands, IHG, Hilton, and Marriott primarily, about dealing with optimizing their brand relationships. And she probably could speak to it even more directly, but even for what I had used to do with it, by having multiple brands before, the saturation thing is real. The segmentation prioritization that brands give their favorite children is real.
The pricing challenges or the pricing,
the frenemy
competition overlap the
frenemy situation is real. The data sharing and dilution of ability to perform individually is real. These things are real things that the people that own the brick and mortars are going, where the hell's my revenue going? Where? Where's my margin going?
I can't do anything about it because I'm restricted from doing anything.
Yeah, I gotta hand over my guest list over to my frenemy on the other side that used to be my competitor. That we're all one big happy family, and now I got to share what I'm doing with them when I was kicking their butt. Now I got to share what I'm doing with them. Really? Sorry, take the flag down, or let me sue to take the flag down. I'll go my own way now. Thank you. And that's real. That's there's, especially when you look at some of the consolidations where some of the ownerships built a triad of brand around a single parking lot, and they got sold the value proposition of that. Like, don't worry, be the courtyard, be the residence, be the full flag.
I've not understood that ever. I've not understood that ever. Like, if you
No.
actually wanted to do that right, it should be a Marriott brand, a Hilton brand, and like a Choice brand. Because at least then
Something-
you have
Exactly.
3 different distribution systems bringing in 3 different, really different types of travelers.
Yeah, not tiered,
Well-
but branded separately. Yes, and
Oh no, I was I was in a property here in Dallas. It was basically on one side was an Element, right? So that's a little, not really long-term stay, but more natural and that sort of thing. That's great. And on the other side was in a loft, right?
Yeah,
And
that's a popular model that they were hoping would have
a
lot.
very popular model. And I'd talked to the GM because there was basically they said, well, the best way to stay here is you book in the Element
and use all
because you
the
can actually
Aloft
get a
stuff.
better, you get a better rate and a better room and all the stuff's really good. And then you just use all the loft amenities and that's perfect. That's why this hotel's so fantastic. And you go, that's a branding nightmare sort of thing. I mean, for that property, you go, the owner, okay, maybe that's working, but boy, that's a really mixed signal on the branding side, right?
And it does,
So-
it does
oh,
open the door when
and-
you look at things like Oyo and what they're doing and their acquisitions and distribution and creations. And this gives them such a great wedge into the conversation for so many ownerships that are like, I don't want to scale it myself. I don't want to go independent flag. I want somebody to do this for me. I just want to cash the checks that I own a building for, the investment group, not the hoteliers, and Oyo goes, got you covered. We'll come in full tech stack, our flag, our property. We're going to drive business.
Yep.
We're going to, and we're only going to take 25%, here's the rest of the money,
Yep.
and
There you
boom,
go.
all of a sudden, get the Marriott flag off of me, give me this one. So it does expand that kind of conversation. Oh, hey, update with Calvin Anderson. He's not doing revenue management for Oyo anymore.
What's he doing?
Revenue
Chief Commercial Officer.
data research.
Isn't it?
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
They
For
bought
Oyo?
2 different data companies for him to play with. One in Europe, one in India.
Oh yeah.
He's got over 88 data scientists now that he's working with
Wow.
to develop revenue data strategies.
Wow.
Doesn't handle revenue management
Very
for him.
cool.
Yeah.
So they bought a cow to make their own milk.
Yes, they did.
Yep.
Yes, they did. And it's going to be interesting what they build out
Rather
of it.
than just going to Ideas or Duetto.
Nope.
or-
They keep everything inside their house.
All right.
You
Good
bet.
for them.
Yeah, good for them.
That's
So
great.
it should be
Well,
fun.
and actually on that revenue thing, this should be a rut row too. But earlier this week, I was visiting with a major hotel group, stayed in one of their hotels, decided to do a little pricing analysis on their property, and I won't mention who this is. Their most expensive hotel. This is just for a one-night stay that we're staying in because I thought I would illustrate this for them because of some of the challenges they're having with their brands and satisfaction levels and some confusion of their guests not understanding their brand promises. The most expensive hotel at $521 per night. Well, I'll do total prices with resort fees and all that. $612 a night was their upper upscale property. Number 2 at $574 a night was their upscale property, right? Lower tier. The third most expensive was their luxury property. And you just kind of go, wait a second, what is going on here? And then they had 2 other 5-star ones, which actually ranked second to lowest and third to lowest and fourth to lowest prices in that market at night. The 5 stars, other 2 5 stars at $380, $359, and the 2 that were at the bottom were the 4-star ones or the upper upscale. The 3 stars were all $400 and up a night. And you just look at that and go, well, what's wrong with this picture? Right?
Unbelievable.
Just absolutely insane. And you kind of go, hey, credit to these, this 3-star, which is a really good product. And you go, wow, $574 a night. That's awesome. And this 4-star at